start to finish on your stencil that you're gonna be making for your clay projects. So the first thing that you want to do, what I do that always makes it easier on myself, is I go up to the top right here, and this is your page setup. Now I'm using a Mac, so yours may look differently if you're using a PC, but your things should be in the same areas if you're using a PC. So the first thing that you want to do is where it says machine, you want to go ahead and change that to none, because you're not using a machine, you're using a printer. On your cutting mat, you'll select none. And then on your media size, you're going to want to select letter, and that is basically going to be the size of your paper that you're printing on. Now that part is very important so that you know exactly where your design is going to print. Then you want to select show print border, and then you're going to go up here where this little grid is, and you're going to select that. And then I always unselect show grid so that I just have a blank slate. Now, the gray area around the edge of your paper is going to be your print area. So keep that in mind whenever you're arranging your design. So I have a design that I brought in on my Silhouette Studio. And by the way, I am using the designer edition. So what I want to do is I want to go over here to the trace panel, and if you find a way that works easier for you, by all means, but this is what works for me and this is what I do. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to trace this area as big as I can. So after I've selected my area that I want to trace, my computer is very slow. I've got a lot of artwork and stuff on here. While we're waiting, the reason why I say to leave your image larger and trace it at the larger state is because if you crop it too soon, you're going to distort your image. So after that's done loading, oh, now it's going to load again. Come on. You want to hit this button right here where it says trace. And what it's going to do is it's going to grab that image in the square, the grayed out square. When I did the first video, it did not go this slow, but I did forget to show how to print in the first video, so I figured I'd redo it. Okay, so I'm really sorry about how slow my computer is. So I don't need this anymore. You can keep it on your screen if you prefer, but I usually just delete it, and while it's selected like this, how you'll know that it's selected because you'll see this box around it. I just hit the delete button or the backspace button. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here to my traced image, and everywhere where you see red, that's technically your cut line. but we're not cutting, we're printing. And that line will not show up when you print. So you're going to go over here to your fill, your little paintbrush palette, and you're just going to select black because you want your image to be black. You're going to be printing in black and white. So what I do from here is I go over to this little box and I want to draw myself a little box. Doesn't have to be perfect. Now, my box is selected, and I know that because I've got this box around my box. Now, I want to go to my transform panel, and on this scale tab, I want to go ahead and change my width to 3.5 inches and my height to 5 inches, and then I'm going to apply it. Now, as you can see, it has applied it perfectly. I have the exact shape that I need, and I can actually fit 4 of these images on one piece of paper. And that's important because you want to try and conserve as much acetate paper as you can. So now that I have this done, my box made, I want to go over here to my image, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to scale it down and get it as close as I can to 5 inches. Now you can use your transform panel for the same thing, but I'm pretty close and I'm happy with what it looks like. So now what I want to do is I want to take this box right here and I want to move it over to this box right here. And I'm just going to kind of inch it down just a tad and then inch it over just a tad to where I'm happy with how it looks. So now I have 2 different objects, one on top of the other. Now, the most important thing that you can do is you're going to left click your mouse and you're going to select both of these items, just like so. You just left click, hold your left click down, and then drag your mouse over to where both of your items are selected. From there, I'm going to go to my modify panel and I'm going to select crop. And when I select crop, it's going to crop out all of the stuff that I don't want to print. And so now you can see right here, I'll zoom in. Whoops, I zoomed in a little too much. Oh, shoot. Me. Okay, so now I have all of these little dots, okay? Now, if you notice, there are a bunch of little squares in this image. That means that this is no longer grouped together. So the next step that you want to do to make sure that you don't accidentally separate any of your dots is you want to select all of your image. You want to right click and then you're going to select group. That will make this one whole object. Now what I do from here is I will then place my image. I will then place my image in the corner as closely as I can to my print line. And just to kind of show you how I would arrange it, um, I'm not gonna do 4 different images, but this is how I would essentially do it. I would have, you know, one image right here, one right here, one right here, one right here, like so. And I just grabbed one from my other page just to give you an idea. And it's very important to make sure all of your image is within your print area. And again, your print area is this border right here that you see. So after you've done this, you will then want to mirror your image. So you'll make sure that it's selected like so. You'll go up to Object, Mirror, flip horizontally. And with this design, it doesn't really matter. But if you're doing like words or whatever, you want to make sure your image is flipped. Then you will go over to File, Print, and you need to make sure that your printer settings are set up. If you've already printed something, they should be set up already, and you should be fine, but this was mostly just to show you how to use the Silhouette software. And it took me forever to learn how to print in Silhouette, so I figured I would throw this in there. And again, yours is going to be very different if it's PC. It'll be similar, but it'll be a little bit differently. So I've got several printers that I use. My Canon printer happens to be my stencil printer. So, and I've already got my preset saved. And I have medium or media and quality, and then best quality for my print. And then it's black and white, and then I would hit print, and it would print on my acetate film. But that's basically how you do it, and if you're confused about any of the steps, just let me know, and I will do my best to help you out. I hope this was helpful for you, and just let me know if you have any questions.